yesterday. They're going to pose with the Stephen Hendry Trophy. Bearing the name of Scotland's greatest ever snooker player. Leo Scullion, another Scot, is the referee in charge. Best of 17, they play 8 frames here this afternoon. Here's Leo, who was in charge 12 months ago as well.
Just a moment.
When he's got his gloves on, we'll be able to start.
Neil, all the best. Have a good game. Thank you. How are you, Paul? All the best. Have a good game. Thank you.
Well, if Robertson can start like he did last night against John Higgins, the first 4 frames were simply sensational, then I think the danger is he will run away with this, but let's see. It's another day, it's another match, it's the final of the Scottish Open.
Yes, and it's hard to argue, isn't it, that these 2 players don't deserve to be here. A lot of people might have thought Higgins trump after the quarterfinals and before yesterday started, but they're on merit. Cao Yupeng certainly got the better of Judd in many ways, not on the table only, but I think in the head as well, and was a deserved winner. He's had a great week with his 147, worth £20,000 in a much earlier round on an outside table. That's given him a boost. And he comprehensively hit the black furs there. Nowhere near the reds.
Yeah, there's bound to be a few early nerves, but that applies to both players. Robertson back in a big final again, after, for him, a little slump in form.
This red move.
Leo Scullion already pressed into action here, replacing them.
This one here.
That's where it was. Yeah, he's right to say that red had slightly moved. Peggy Lee is the marker, just helping him out here.
Is it that way?
There's Peggy.
Yeah.
So that's just the cue ball. Cao, the 5th Chinese player to reach a ranking final after Ding Junhui, Liang Wenbo, Zhao Guidong, and of course Yanbing Tao, who was in the Northern Ireland Open final just recently. Comes off the back of him reaching his first semi-final at the European Masters in Belgium a couple of months back.
Well, it's not an easy shot to get the pace right when you're playing the swerve, as if you were playing it plain ball. But it doesn't look as if he stuck anything there.
It's Neil Robertson's 20th appearance in a ranking event final. He's already up to 16th in the world rankings with the 30,000 guaranteed. If he wins, he'll go up another place. But of course, as we know, it doesn't help him in terms of the Masters. The cut-off came last week after the UK Championship.
There is one to the bottom. And he's made a great pot. That looks as if it was very tight. But he could pot it. And if he starts off like he did yesterday, he'll be a very dangerous player. I think he's got his scoring back together, hasn't he, and getting in. It's the one part of his game that was always top class, his long potting and his creativity, shot making. Sometimes, last year or two, that seems to have gone.
Yeah, he's played good open attack in snooker this week. He's made 10 centuries. Marco Fu last year when he won the title made 11. Ronnie O'Sullivan when he won the English Open this season made 12.
Didn't go into them all that firmly.
14.
But I suppose he was worried about maybe losing the cue ball if he didn't hit them flush, but he has got a red on here. One in the middle, one in the left corner. The one in the middle is the one he's going in at. Yeah, well,
Neil Robertson.
he started like a train, yes. He didn't miss anything, but an early mistake.
Well, Robertson's had 10 centuries. Cao Yupeng has had 1 in the tournament, but it was the maximum on the second morning, the 147.
One.
He started the tournament 67th in the world rankings. He's up to 56 with the 30 grand guaranteed, and if he wins the tournament, it'd be 38th. So it just shows you how under this prize money system you can rocket up the list with a good week.
Hit that nicely. He certainly has become very compact in his cue action. I noticed it. Had a little look through
please.
The 147, which was streamed. And just there was something about his cue action that he shortened everything up, which means he's accelerating through the ball. He has always been a technical player. I know that early in his career, Terry Griffiths was helping him with his game. I'm not sure that's still the case, but you know, he's not naturally as gifted as some of the other Chinese players coming through. But this week, the mechanics of his cue action are all working out.
Thank you. Eight.
That's a good camera angle, wasn't it? Because you saw he played it with a touch of right-hand side and stun.
15.
And that has worked out well because the Reds were not guaranteed to split from where they were. He doesn't want that one back.
16.
I wonder how he's feeling. We'll soon find out how it's affecting his game. It's the biggest match of his snookering career. And he's got to trust that cue action as well under pressure that he's worked
22.
so hard to get right. He's got a little notch on the cue actually, which you may be able to see, which is where he's got to
24.
put his bridge hand. It's something that you wouldn't see very often, to make sure that his cue is the right distance away from his bridge. Bit further down than that is where his bridge hand is. But it's given him a very solid way of hitting the ball.
$29.
Well, there it is. Now that is where he wants to have his thumb, basically.
30.
Without getting in it too much, it means that he's got the right amount of cue at the back and he's essentially happy with his game. But you don't see many players going on the match table with all that happening. It's a little stun through onto the red in bulk. And again, well played.
It's worth reminding everybody he dropped off the tour last year, Cao Yupeng. Had to enter Q school to get back on, and he came through 5 rounds and didn't have a good season last year at all. But this season, something has clicked.
36.
Well, obviously, he was looking to avoid the green.
Well, the break surely is over. It's a question of, well, he's thinking about taking on the green to the middle and playing the long red, but I think most of the tour players here will be dropping in behind the colour. And I think that's what he's going to do in the end. It's got to be the right shot, especially if you leave it tight as he has done.
Well, that's Neil Robertson's partner, Miller, and their little lad, Alexander. At the moment, seems a little more intrigued with his lollipop.
The problem here is if he's playing bulk cushion first, then he's in a lot of trouble. He'd like to lay on either the red on the right of the table or the one right down the bottom. That's the worst possible outcome.
One.
I think it is a different vibe for Robertson today. Yesterday against John Higgins, he was playing another multi-champion. Today he's playing someone pretty much everyone expects him to beat. But Cao Yupeng doesn't care about other people's expectations. He's played really well this week to reach the final. He wasn't favourite yesterday against Judd Trump, came through that one.
8. Nine.
I think that's the point, Dave, isn't it? In that if he was a little bit unsure of his chances of winning yesterday, it never showed. So why should today be any different? Maybe because it is the final.
I think the test for him today will come later on. If he
16.
does get a chance to win, if he's in front, how will he handle that?
$17.
But he once beat Mark Allen at the Crucible. 2012, first round. Obviously that was a 2-session match.
Once again, very measured positional shot. The 3 reds that remain look
24.
he's going to struggle to pop them, and he'll need one of them, whatever colour he takes. It'll probably be the black following this. His lead will only be
25.
say only, but 47 points. He's got the angle to flick one of the 3 reds out. I don't think he's going to hit this very hard. He's going to just try and nudge something on. Well, that's very good. In fact, it could not have been played any better. He played it very firmly, and Plenty of zip on the ball.
Top to 3.
What a good start.
Yeah, he had him snookered and forced a mistake, but the key moment, I think, came when Robertson missed that red to the left middle, which he wasn't doing early yesterday. He didn't miss anything, really, against Higgins early on of any significance to lead 4-0.
Yes, he missed this red to the middle. He actually had a choice of reds. He could have played one into the left corner, but he felt this was the best position. And as we're saying, he never missed any of that yesterday early on. He was
41.
virtually flawless for 4 frames before John came back, but it was all too late. So he's not going to be in front here. Well, this is just the start I think the match needed, where Cao Yupeng has really started positively.
47. $48.
Well, no signs at all of early nerves from Cao Yupeng in his first major final. Quite the opposite, actually. Looking
55.
bang up for it.
$57. $60. $64.
Well, he knows this is the sort of snooker he's got to produce today if he's to last the distance against an informed Neil Robertson. But precisely the start he was looking for. Get in, settle down with a nice break, and take this opening
75.
frame. So it's advantage Cao Yupeng in this Scottish Open final. That missed red from Neil Robertson was significant in this opening frame. Long way to go, though. It's first to 9 to become champion. Cao Yupeng leads 1-0. The Stephen Hendry Trophy is what we're playing for today here at the Scottish Open. Neil Robertson and Cao Yupeng. It's 1-0 to the Chinese.
Thank you. The second frame. Cao Yupeng to break.
Made an 82 break eventually to win that opener.
Foul. Neil
That's
Robertson,
not a good
4.
break. He didn't even hit the blue. He finished in the pocket. So if he'd hit it nearer to where he meant, he might have hit the blue. It was way off. Too thin.
One.
Well, Glenn Potton's been so good this week, so reliable.
That cue ball
6.
just got there.
Seven.
It is amazing how the break, the shot that you play more than any other can go wrong like that. For Cao Yupeng, I mean, he just completely mishit it. And yet he's played that shot many, many thousands of times.
15. Yeah.
Obviously, the cue ball's meant to come round a lot wider, but it is so thin, he finished to the left of the blue and not the other side of it.
22.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is watching in the Eurosport studio. I guess, Ronnie, if Neil Robertson was wondering how Cao Yupeng would be feeling in his first major final, he found out in that first frame he was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was a great first frame for Cao. You know, Neil got in early and, you know, half expecting him to do what he done last night against John. He broke down. Cao made a nice 30-odd and then clinically finished off with a nice 82 break. So perfect start for him, but it's far too early to kind of see how this match is going to go, you know. But for a spectator, I think it was more important for Cao to get off to a flying start than Neil, you know.
Yes, but we know, of course, that Robertson is a very confident character, and he's obviously got to back himself, considering how well he's played this week. Yeah,
I mean, listen, Neil's kind of won 6 matches to get here, and, you know, he's beat a lot of players that he's expected to beat, and, you know, he's dispatched them pretty well. And I agree with what you said earlier, you know, against John Higgins, you know, it was a 50-50 match. But this match, it's, you know, the pressure's kind of all on Neil, really, because he is the favourite to win the match, and it's how he deals with that. And if Cao starts to play well, then that pressure will only increase. But, you know, he looks in good form, good touch, and, you know, if he continues to play like this, I'm sure it's going to be a very, very good match.
OK, thanks, Ronnie. We'll hear more from Ronnie as the match develops.
39.
Well, that's not as he meant it. And this,
44.
he got a bit of applause for this shot, but there's no way he meant to hit the reds like that. He hit the pink as well. And now this red from under the rail is not easy. He'll certainly play it, but he must hit it properly. Yeah, nicely
45.
done. Nice recovery. He's always been very good at playing recovery shots with his potting skill. I wonder if he's going to consider going into the bunch here. There is a possible red, as you're looking at now, on the left of the little group of 5. Other than that, will he have the angle on the black to go into them? Is the other option.
$52. $53. Yeah.
And once again, looking at just about where he can land with the cue ball to pot the end red into the left middle pocket. He's got an area in which he can get into, which is okay. Well, it looks to be all right.
60. $61.
Now he's looking at another red to that left middle. He's running out of options, but he's also getting close to the point where Yupeng needs snookers. Well, that was a sloppy shot. He never really looked at the pot. He looked at the next shot. A bit too much there. I'm not saying it was simple, but he was definitely interested in position. Maybe stop thinking about the pot. Well, as you can see, it was available. Pretty early to say that it's going to be a turning point in the frame, because to clear up from here would be quite something. The two reds below the black are the real problem. They're not available yet. Well, it's worked out well. He obviously screwed past them where he meant to, but he flicked the two reds.
Nine.
Well, that's a very interesting shot. I mentioned the two reds that were safe, but he's taken the opportunity to get them into play early in the break,
16.
and that's a sign of confidence. Any suggestion that
17.
He's a little bit slow? Well, he's at the moment going at 21 seconds per shot. His pot success is 100% as well. I guess the two things might be linked, but he's not playing slowly.
Well,
there's a couple of awkward reds, but I mean, thinking ahead, if he dished up this lot and pinched this frame, that would hurt Neil Robertson. But there's a long way to go to make that happen. .38 pots he's gone for. He's knocked them all in so far. Again, that was very well played. Very meticulous with his positional play.
26.
And if he finishes high on the black, that's where he wants to be, to make it easy to get onto the last red.
It's
okay. Well, there's a very big shot just around the corner here. It's the last red. If he gets onto it, it's huge. And he couldn't be on it any better.
Well, Neil Robertson was 2 balls away from
54.
levelling up. He missed that pink. Thinking more about position for next red on 65. What a steal this would be by Cao Yupeng. An early blow for sure to land.
Well, Neil Robertson must be a little bit concerned, and he's probably thinking about the ball that he missed as well. This was one of the easier ones that he'd played. He'd potted some good balls up until then. could be pinning his
44.
hopes in the blue and pink. I don't know whether the blue is available into the middle pocket, the left middle, with the pink so close to it. That would be his possible saving grace. See how he goes about it. Well, he's overscrewed. He just hit it too well. Getting so much on the ball, it flew back. I don't know whether he hit it too hard or he went too low down the cue ball, but he meant to be a lot straighter than this. We'll take him onto the blue, though. And of course, it's pressure now. No problem.
Thank you. 51.
Well, the blue must go. From our commentary position, it looks tight, but it must go.
Yeah. 56.
You wanted an angle, but not a big angle. It's just in between shots. If he plays to put it in the middle and hold for the black, it's not easy. I guess nothing's ever quite straightforward in these circumstances.
Oh, he's played it so well. So the black to steal the frame. Neil Robertson led 65-0, missed the pink to that same middle pocket. Oh my word, he's jawed the black, all that hard work.
62.
And he's missed the black.
Well, you're joking after all that work. Wow. He likes to play shots with a little bit of pace, but there, I'd quite like to see him drop it in, but it's not his style. Wow. It was a fantastic break up until that shot. Well, that's made him feel, not embarrassed, but he feels totally sickened to miss it. You see it in his face. It's not an easy shot that Neil's got here. It's a thin one.
But already a fist pump and a shout of come on from Neil Robertson. He wasn't expecting Cao Yupeng to miss the black off the spot. A rueful smile. What a dramatic start. Every chance there to lead 2-0, but in fact, it's one apiece.
Frame. Neil Robertson to break.
How will Cao Yupeng respond? Having done all the hard work, just the last ball he missed. Interesting to see how it affects him. Of course, it's affected Robertson. We saw that from the way he responded to potting the black.
Yes, up until then in the match, Cao Yupeng had potted 48 of 48 shots, 100%. But it was the 49th, which was one too many. It was a pity for him. It was a great break.
1.
They put a hand of apology up after this shot. Of course, he didn't play it.
Ground ball.
Well, certainly looking to remain positive when he could have easily tucked in behind a colour there. And the thing about this table is that
5.
the high-value colours are not really in play, so I don't know how he's going to keep the break going. Also, he's got to recover from that last frame, the way it ended. Three-ball plant. Very handy.
This is the latest all non-British final. We've seen a few. Neil Robertson's been in a couple against Ding Junhui and Marco Fu.
11.
The first in a ranking final was way back when, 1985 British Open, between Silvina Francisco of South Africa and the Canadian Kirk Stevens.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, Dave, is that those two countries do not provide top snooker players anymore. South Africa had a few, but Canada was a hotbed of snooker for many years. Some great players have come from those parts, but we don't see that now, sadly.
No, but we do
7.
actually have a few viewers in Canada. I know that they tweet now and again, so I hope they're enjoying the coverage.
$18.
Well, he's got them open, but this is, I mean, this is awkward. Does he take the pink on? If he misses, the reds are everywhere.
It's an awkward shot for sure. It's in between both pockets. He wants to be positive, as we've seen. Well, that was a terrific pot. And looking to keep the break
24.
going. Ronnie O'Sullivan is watching this avidly in the studio. Ronnie, as we see Cao Yupeng on this shot, we're going to go back to the previous frame. And what did you make of Neil Robertson's black and his celebration so early in the match?
Yeah, I know. I was really surprised by that. You know, because Neil has done that in the past, but you know, to do it and then to really give his opponent the glare as well. I think it's only 1-1. You've got another like 16 frames and 7 or 8 hours to go. So a little bit early to start sort of celebrating like that. But I suppose in in some ways he might feel like he needs to pump himself up to get
Cao
himself
Yupeng,
going. I don't know,
24.
but yeah, very early to celebrate like that.
Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. We'll get your views as this very interesting match unfolds. But I guess it was important for him to show that man sitting in his chair what it meant. Anyway, interesting. We'll be back with Ronnie later on. Meanwhile, he did miss that pot. It's one of the first he has missed. The black, of course, was the only other one.
Yeah, he'd potted the good pink, but then he was left with this. His reaction to it all was just a smile, but often in snooker, that means they're feeling the opposite. It's literally crying on the inside. Must have been after missing the black and then seeing Robertson knock it in like that.
It's gone a little bit tactical here. That long red up the table. If he plays to push it up and down, the double kiss could be on. He might not have the easiest shot to get it back down the table, the red, that is. So he's going onto the black cushion with the cue ball instead. It's very well played. What have you got any interest in going for this? Dropping it in, being on the yellow, it's a difficult shot against the nap at this range. A great shot, absolutely terrific. Played slowly, extremely difficult shot to play. Cue ball had to travel a long way to get to the red.
Three. Four.
I'm not sure. I guess he might have played that. It's not the worst outcome. Cannon on the two reds to finish on the pink. Yep. One thing you can't say, you can't accuse him of not trying. He is Giving every shot 100%. This is difficult, though. Very well played. Very impressed with what I'm seeing.
Yeah, we're seeing why he's in the final.
10.
Whatever was happening last couple of years with him seems a distant memory. And he'll be hoping the miss black in the last frame is a distant memory, just looking to press on in this frame, make things right here now in frame 3.
11.
He earned £6,500 last season. The whole season, that is. Already this season, 55,000 plus the 22 for the maximum, a guaranteed 30 for reaching the final. It's 70 if you win it.
Rainbow, thank you. $15.
So he was clearing up in the last frame and was left with this black for the frame. And that's what happened. Caught the jaw, stayed out.
Yeah, one or two people have already sent me messages saying they think he didn't really get through finish his backswing on that. It was a little bit short at the back, which can happen because you're so keen to get the shot out of the way. The usual flow is not there. And that's known as pressure, simple as that. That's another very clean pot.
Well, here's Shoe Cam. Strictly final was last night, I think.
What a chance to win the frame.
23.
Keeping it simple,
24.
playing on the pink to the middle with the two reds there. Stopping the cue ball travelling any real distance.
$30. $31.
Well, Neil Robertson gave it the fist, gave it the come on when he won that last frame. But Cao has responded really well here. Had every right to be crushed, really, by what happened. But just concentrated on this visit and looks sure to be a winning visit. Just needs this red, and Robertson is going to need snookers.
37.
Yeah, great response. Knocked in that cracking long red with the cue ball on the top cushion to the yellow bag. Judd Trump said yesterday that Cao Yupeng cannot win this final, but the way he started suggests he can.
46.
This was the opening shot of the break. Look where the white is, glued to that top cushion. The red away
52.
from the pocket. It's not like it's hanging in the jaws, but he's knocked it in all the same. And he's made the winning break.
It was a really good shot, Dave. It's so difficult to play. And I don't suppose he had many options, which is the only good thing. His mind was made up.
Well, he knows it could be 3-0, but the
55.
important thing is that he's put together a good contribution in this frame and just looking forward, not back at that missed black.
56.
Yes, and that's a really good point. You know, he's recovered from that situation. I don't know whether he would have been inspired by seeing Neil so elated about winning a frame. Ultimately, he still stands. He's still pleased to have won it. Otherwise,
60.
he'd been 3-0 down now. Nothing
61.
wrong with people showing emotion, I don't believe, as long as it's not excessive. It's nice that people care enough about the game and whatever sport they're playing.
63. 65.
Very impressive. Playing all these shots left-handed now. Saw him practicing them earlier on.
68.
He's pretty good as well, isn't he? He looks almost exactly the same.
Cao Yupeng.
That's a really good break of 72 from Cao Yupeng, especially in the light of what happened in frame 2. He's looking really good here in the early stages of the final, and he leads Neil Robertson by 2 frames to 1. First to 9 to get their hands on that lovely trophy.
That's quite a rare mistake from Yupeng. It was very thin. I'm a little surprised he went for it.
One.
Yeah. Didn't put it cleanly. I wonder if that's why he's not on the blue perfectly or at all, actually.
Oh, but I miss. Neil Robertson 1, Cao Yupeng 5.
Not got there.
3 ball.
It's incredible.
Well, trying to get it
Play again.
tight. And he's been asked to play again from where it was. Going twice across here. Could be touching, which would be in Cao Yupeng's favour. Apparently not.
What he's not been able to do yet, Robertson, is take control. You know, we've seen him bouncing around this table, particularly last night against John Higgins. At one point, bearing in mind he's playing John Higgins, he shut his opponent out for 62 minutes. Higgins didn't pot a ball for 62 minutes last night, 426 points without reply. Robertson completely in control. That's not been the case yet today. Doesn't mean it can't happen. But Cao is looking comfortable. Despite the slip-up in frame 2, he put together a very good third frame. Not a great return safety from Robertson. But that's not good either. Robertson 3 out of 3 so far on long potting. Make that 4 out of 4.
Yes, he really pinged that one in, didn't he? It was beautifully struck. Now, there could be a plant of 2 reds into the left corner, but there might be another red that's available. Looking at his options, but this is worth seeing again. It was expert timing and cueing. That's a good shot. Played that well.
8. Nine.
Robertson, one of 3 non-British players to have been world champion. Canada's Cliff Thorburn was the first. The second was Ireland's Ken Doherty, who last night was inducted into the Irish Sporting Hall of Fame 20 years after he won the title at the Crucible. And thoroughly deserved as well. What a great ambassador, not just for the game, but for his country.
16. Seventeen. Yeah. $24. $25.
Well, he gets a clap, but it's actually put himself in a spot of bother here. Obviously, the red's covering the black, so that's the first problem. I mean, he's potted some tremendous blues into bulk pockets in this tournament, especially yesterday against John Higgins. I don't know how much he wants to fancy this one, or he might be playing a safety. And it goes yellow instead. That's tremendous. I haven't seen him cue this well for a long time, as he has been in the last few days. Things are
27.
just not touching the sides.
Yeah, that absolutely had to go in. He knew he was leaving the red over the pocket. He also knew how well Cao Yupeng was playing. It's been a fascinating start to this final.
28.
Well, he's not on the black.
No, that's not unlucky. It's not a good shot. He could have played through the gap more firmly around two cushions there. But he shouldn't have kissed the red. That was not part of the plan. Thought he could have run this in, gone around the back of it. Maybe the angle wasn't there, but either way, he played a poor shot. Well, he's a great
Robertson,
potter, but
28.
even that was beyond him, and it wasn't really a Robertson sort of a shot. I don't actually think it's anyone's kind of a shot, really, to cut the blue in the middle, but he went for it. And it may be very costly.
1.
Yeah, just coming up to an hour's playing time. It's kind of felt like we're already in the evening session. It feels like we're near the end of the match in terms of the high-stakes nature of some of the frames so far. I think everyone was wondering how Cao would start in his first major final. We know Robertson's playing well, but this man had every right to be feeling the pressure. I guess he did on the black that he missed, but other than that, he's played really well.
6. Seven.
Wasn't an easy shot to play there, so that was a good shot. Little, almost dragged it and took the cue ball around the table. Another cueing shot here. Very nice.
13.
He looks absolutely rock solid.
Remember, outside of the one-frame shootout event last season, he only won 2 matches the whole season.
20.
Having dropped off the tour, having to come back through Q School. Just come out of complete obscurity this week.
21.
He had been in a semi-final in Belgium where Trump played terrifically well to beat him 6-1. I think a lot of people were expecting more of the same yesterday, but Not a bit of it. He won 6-4 and he's really settled in well here. But, of course, this frame not over yet.
It's another very good shot. Yes, and you mentioned yesterday, Dave, there was actually a very long frame where he missed the final black in that, which was a little more difficult
28.
than the one that he missed in frame 2. But as we know, that didn't affect him too badly either. Seems to put it behind him completely what happened in frame 2.
29.
And his tempo around the table is absolutely excellent. Concentration's good. But he's not over the line by any means, only a few in front in this frame. And his problem might be the 2 reds in the middle of the table. He's looking at where they may be possible. That is a fantastic shot. Didn't have the right angle
46.
to screw him behind it, but again, great ball striking. Just got a glimpse from that camera angle of the other 2 reds there. I don't know whether any of them or either of them popped to the middle pocket. Just a little bit too close for comfort to each other. Could be the other middle pocket. It's a similar sort of shot.
$44.
Oh, it's another beautifully controlled shot. That was probably the only place that red was available. Couldn't have put it any better with his hand than where it finished. 21 in front. So 28 now, red-black. It means that this frame, barring Snookers, will go his way also.
52. $53.
Well, Robertson must be very thoughtful about how this match is going.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't expecting this in terms of just how well Cao settled. That's a little bit like the black that he missed in frame 2, but he didn't miss that one.
I'm just thinking exactly the same thing, Dave. It was
60.
a similar shot, but he played it very positively.
Well, I didn't meet one person backstage today at the venue, some seasoned snooker people here. I didn't meet one tipping Cao Yupeng to win this final.
61.
There may be a few opinions revised at the interval, because he's going to be 2 frames up.
Yeah, it's early days, but I'm very, very impressed by how he's played. He's played beautifully. He's got a different game to a lot of the leading players. He's not free-flowing,
8.
sort of loose-limbed. He doesn't just sort of get down and knock balls in. He's quite mechanical, but at the moment, everything is working. The machine is fully operational here.
And it could have been 4-0, of course. He lost the second frame on the black, but that didn't seem to faze him at all. He's just come out and played 2 really good frames. He made a 72 break. He's made a 70 break there in frame 4. Neil Robertson has his hands full today. This is not the start that he was expecting, I'm sure, at the first interval of the Scottish Open final. Cao Yupeng and make this closer coming back this evening.
Yeah. That's why I asked him to hurry up. Thank you. Frame 5. Neil Robertson to break.
Well, it's another break-off shot in this match that could have been better.
One.
Yes, very well potted. Long Red's rolled it in with an angle to go into the bunch if he wishes. Playing with topspin here, so I think he's probably playing on the loose red.
Eight. Nine.
And this time into the bunch for sure. Topspin trying to arc the cue ball into the pack. It's not the easiest shot with the bunch so tight to get them open. It's always the worry, cue ball will stick to them. Could hardly have played it better, I guess.
16.
Maybe to hit the reds not quite so square on would have been handy.
Cao Yupeng, 16.
Had a brief text conversation with Terry Griffiths at the interval, because he used to coach Cao Yupeng and he's enjoying watching. Hope you're well, Terry, and well, whatever you taught him is working out pretty well. Even to get this far, you know, even if he should be beaten in this final, which he leads 3-1, he's had the 147 break. The bonus for that, the high break prize, and at least 30,000 for getting to the final. It's a big payday. Someone who's middle ranked. It looks to me as if he's looking to win the title, though. It seems to be no signs of him just being happy with his lot.
Well, Terry will remember a certain Yorkshireman by the name of Joe Johnson at the 1986 World Championship who beat him in the quarter-finals, and of course turned up in the final, very much second favourite to Steve Davis, but really with nothing to lose, and went on famously to win the trophy. Well, again, it's not great from Robertson.
No, it's a very weak shot. There's no doubt that Yupeng has surprised a few of his opponents this week, because he hasn't been playing as well as this, and he seems to continue surprising people. Judd yesterday, no doubt didn't expect him to play as well, and I think even Neil Robertson expected that things might go a little bit more smoothly than they are so far. And he's potting this, and he's worried where the cue ball's going to finish.
One.
Good shot. I mean, you can only make sure of the pot and hope for something. Although his next colour won't be straightforward. Well, this looks like a real stretch to me. I can't believe he can get to this without an extension on his cue. Or even the rest. Lo and behold, he's done just that. Put a bit more on the end of the cue. This way he can cue the yellow.
Well, he's got to keep a toe on the floor. Leo Scullion making sure that he is.
Three.
He was sat in the players' lounge during the interval as Robertson went to the practice table. Chair looked very relaxed. Clearly happy with his initial afternoon's work.
Four.
This wasn't absolutely clean, but it's gone in all the same.
Nine. Ten.
First two Home Nations events this season. English Open lost second round, Northern Ireland Open first round. But as I say, had been in a semi-final earlier in the campaign in Belgium, European Masters, lost to Trump. And obviously the maximum he made first round, that was a great boost to his confidence. He's on that list, an increasingly long list now, 134 maximums on it. But he's on it, and that was a great way to start the tournament.
18.
Well, I must confess, I thought that was going to drop in. And it's a bit like a shot that Neil Robertson missed against John Higgins last night. Hit the same part of the jaw. It was a red below the black spot. I guess it was always a bit wide. But there's two blacks in this match that he's missed, which have come at inopportune moments, let's say. And both I thought he'd get.
One. 8.
No, it's just not quite happening, is it, for the Aussie at the minute? Got to try and stay positive, though, which he is in general, Neil Robertson.
Neil Robertson, 8.
But only able to score 8 from the missed black.
Yes, he hasn't been made to feel punished for that missed black. Robertson, like you say, not really doing a lot from the chance that came. If he could extend his lead here even more, things would be getting quite serious, I think. Because we know it's a long match. In the final 12 months ago, John Higgins had a long lead, or decent lead, against Marco Fu, who pulled off, I think it was 8 frames in a row in the end. So a long match can turn around. I guess a clap, but I'm afraid the red has just drifted too far down the table. It's not an easy shot, but he might look at it. And he might just look at where the cue ball's going to go as well. Dangerous, this.
One.
I'd be disappointed not to have just got a little bit more on that to get it in and out of bulk. Just tickling behind a colour here.
Neil Robertson, 1.
So advantage Robertson.
They all hit and hope.
Yeah, and it's just a question of if you've got no obvious shot, I guess there's a chance you might fluke one. It's one of those attentional pockets, isn't it? Nothing's gone in, but nothing's been left that easy, actually, either. Nearly fluke one in the middle.
It's amazing, though, a game of such intricate skill that sometimes you just see a player have the old heave-ho, see what happens. As you say, could have been a lot worse for Cao.
I've seen players do that when they have got a safety shot on. I've seen them, out of total frustration, just launch their cue into the cue ball, into the bunch, reds everywhere. Makes them feel a lot better after they've done it. probably cost him the frame, but there you go. In that case, it was a little different.
Yes, well, Robertson's compatriot, Quinton Han, was well known for it. Frequently off the break-off shot, he'd smash him up.
Oh, that's a good shot.
One.
Kept his cool there, and he realised it was a difficult shot. There was a suggestion, I think Jimmy White and Ronnie O'Sullivan were right when they mentioned that the blue he took on before the interval was probably one shot too many, cut to the middle. It was horrible, cost him the frame. So he might just have to just temper that a little bit. Play that one much more sensibly. Yeah, this was the shot we're speaking about before the interval, frame 4.
3.
Neil had a number of safety options there, but he was just trying to force something into happening, and sometimes that can go wrong. So you just got to be aggressive, but controlled aggression, I think.
Four.
Yes, and it's a very decent chance now. But one he has to take. High value colours will really help him here. Just trying to do the maths of the fact that he could actually be with reds and blacks and the yellow, not in need of the green. If he takes anything lower value, then he will need to pot the green in this visit 26. To win the frame. Which he doesn't really want to happen where it's placed.
27.
I don't know if he's actually checked that with the scores. He's having a little look now. I get the feeling that Neil Robertson's the kind of player that's unlikely to miss a little help, bit of help like that. And he's had another look at the scores.
34. $35.
Yes, if he puts the pink here, black with the final red means he only needs the yellow.
$41.
Well, he's obviously hoping something goes wrong.
42.
That's just the only circumstances that Neil would have played that shot in that way, and I shouldn't think that he's played it nicely, although he's a bit straight on the black. Wow. And that's all because the angle didn't work out right.
The only good news for Robertson there was the double kiss, which has left the cue ball up the black end of the table. 17 in it then. as you can see, which obviously means Robertson does now need the green.
Certainly, now that he's missed the black. Now he could get the snooker here. Yes, well, it's not an easy snooker to hit, and this is a huge swerve if he's playing that way. Almost a masse that will be around the green. Probably needing to use the bottom cushion as well. Well, this would be a great shot. Unlucky as well.
Foul and a miss. Neil Robertson, 4.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Not a free ball, but it was very close to being one.
It's a very difficult shot to play. You've got to get a lot on this. He nearly got there, but if he played it maybe a touch slower, the spin and the swerve would have more time to go onto the ball.
Yeah? Were you Paul? Yeah.
Now, if he misses it again, it means that Robertson will only need the yellow. So, not the green.
Yes, and that makes a big difference, Dave. Good spot.
Foul and a miss. Neil Robertson.
See,
Yeah.
this will go back. I think that this is where the rule becomes a little awkward here, because if he was to miss this and hit the pink this time by accident, it wouldn't be called a miss. I beg your pardon, there's 25 in there now, isn't there? It would.
Is that back?
He's got to hit it, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Were you Paul? Yeah.
Yep, he's got to hit it, otherwise he needs snookers.
Yeah, that was the situation on the last snooker, wasn't it? If it had hit the pink, then there'd been 27 in there and no miss would have been called. But he's beyond that stage now. Well, question is, has he left it after all that? Yeah, this could be a little swerve as well.
Two.
Well, it proved a very profitable snooker for Neil Robertson.
Interesting to know how crucial this frame is if Robertson wins it at the end. Of course, one snooker is very gettable, especially where the black is. That will interest Cao Yupeng.
Neil Robertson, 2.
Can nestle something in behind there, the cue ball, at some point. Probably not from this shot.
Longest frame of the final so far, just coming up to 26 minutes. And may have some time yet to run yet, with just one snooker needed.
The worst thing there is that he's put the black awkward now. That was a good ball to be getting snookers behind where it was placed. Good effort, but there's a bit of this sticking out. That's by some way the longest frame of the match. I don't think he played it quite like that. It is a one cushion, ticklish one, which you'd expect a player like Neil Robertson to get.
Well, he's not the blue, slightly awkward, which favours Robertson. Because Cao obviously would need it if he was going to get the snooker and make the clearance. Well, I'm not quite sure how he's going to get the snooker. Things aren't looking as good as they did a few shots ago. Balls have gone tricky now. But while it's only one, it will always interest him. Got to be very accurate to get in behind the brown from that shot.
A few people thought there could be a few drawn-out battles of safety in this match, and this frame is the first real sign of that. Up until now, it's been free-flowing. The longest frame would have been 18 minutes. This one has been going over half an hour. It's about to end.
3.
Yeah, and in the end, the decisive moment was Robertson trapping Cao in that snooker on the yellow.
7.
Obviously wouldn't have panicked at the interval, but he's happy to get this frame on the board to make the match a little bit closer.
Yeah. And the frame.
So a lengthy frame that, just shy of 32 minutes. It's gone to Australia's Neil Robertson with 3 frames to play. Finally poised at the moment, 3-2 to Cao Yupeng. Neil Robertson winning that lengthy
Thank you. Frame
5th
6.
frame.
Cao Yupeng to break.
Trophy bearing the name of the great Stephen Hendry, Scottish sporting legend. Scotland does have a proud snooker heritage. In the post-war years, Walter Donaldson was world champion twice. Indeed, it's reputed that Mary, Queen of Scots, when she died, she was actually wrapped in the cloth from a billiard table. Well, she didn't have much choice in it.
Well, that was out of character. He missed that one by quite a way, considering how well the long pots have been going in all week. About 6 inches out. What has he left? Well, the close one to the middle, but that would be a last resort. Wow, this is tight, isn't it? It just about goes, I think, but it's one of those, you're a little worried about it. I wonder if he needs a touch of right-hand side to straighten it. Of course, when these go wrong and you hit the first red on the way through it, it looks dreadful. Very nice. I did touch a right-hand side on that, certainly, just to make it potable. Just a trace.
Eight. Nine.
Well, what an opportunity. He really needed to get in first in this frame, I think. At first, it looked like Robertson's bad shot had gone unpunished. found a way through to that opening red.
$16.
The ball he missed was the first long one that he's missed in the match. Neil Robertson potted previous 7 from distance.
17. $24. $25.
Yeah, it's got through the reds nicely there.
32.
Don't suppose there's a lot of point in him staying on reds and blacks when he's already made a 147 this tournament. It would be a waste, I suppose. The frame will always be more important, especially at this stage.
$33.
Now everything is out in the open, and he's created this chance. Play with screw and right hand reverse side.
38. $39.
Chow's made the breaks really in this match. Robertson's only had 1/2 century, 61. Bearing in mind he's had 10 centuries in the tournament. Cao so far has had 4 half centuries.
Well, it's another very nicely played shot. Stroked it
46.
round the table there. Wow,
47.
he's overdone it. Can you believe that? Every now and then he feels that he's almost surprising himself how much zip he's getting on the ball.
Paintball.
Well, this is now the rescue shot. Pink to the middle. Cue ball not sure of getting back down for a red. That was always going to be the problem, hitting a bold colour.
$53. Cao Yupeng, 53.
Well, a nice break of 53, but he'll be annoyed not to have made more because he was going along nicely until he went out of position. Could never get it back.
One.
So Cao made 53, but there's plenty on for Neil Robertson. As I say, he's not seen breaks flowing himself in this match yet, Robertson, just that 61. But plenty of time for that to change. The win in Hong Kong was big for him. He said that the atmosphere out there in the invitation event in the summer was like nothing he'd seen. 3,000 people for the final against Ronnie O'Sullivan. You can imagine just how exciting it must have been in that arena. Robertson here won 6-3. But the £100,000 first prize didn't count towards his world ranking. The great irony really, though, is if the Masters cut-off had been after this tournament as opposed to the last one, he would be at Ali Pali. Wow. Another blue, albeit I guess an easier one than the one in the pre-interval frame.
It was quite an easy shot. Very easy, I would say. Again, his concentration was divided between pot and position, but that's the game on shots like that. Shouldn't have missed the pot. Blue to the middle, not far off, straight behind it. Well, it's important for Cao Yupeng as well, given that he'd made the mistake. But it looks like it won't cost him. And what he's managed to do is apply some pressure to Neil Robertson. And might explain why he missed that last shot.
8. Nine.
Well, once again, overdoing it. Frame not over yet. It's a bad shot to not be on the yellow. If he pots the blue, there's 60 in it with 59 on, but he wants to do a bit more than just pot one more ball here.
Blue ball.
If he can cue it, which he can, he'll be screwing back for the red, or a red.
So the missed blue from Robertson and this blue from Cao Yupeng means it's looking like a 2-frame gap again. It means can't be behind coming back tonight with 2 frames left to play this afternoon. Wants this in as well, though. Oh, it wriggled. It wriggled in.
Yes, but like you say, a significant frame to win for the reasons you said, that he won't be losing going into tonight. He could have a A very healthy lead. He's been the better player in the 6 frames we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 frames Robertson won. One was on the black, the other was very scrappy. Hasn't really got into that nice flow that we've seen all through the tournament. We certainly saw it last night against John Higgins. We saw it in the quarterfinals against Xiao Guodong, where he made 3 centuries, won 5-4, but played terrifically well. That's what he's got to try and summon up for the remainder of the afternoon and then going into this evening. Cao Yupeng not wilting on his debut in a major final.
28. 29. $31. $32.
Well, this was the miss coming up from Robertson, the blue. And this has been the result of that miss. Cao, of course, was already in front after his earlier 53.
39. 41.
Under the very talented player from the snooker powerhouse that is China. We've seen several of them come to the fore this season. It's not just about Ding Junhui anymore. He has won the Shanghai Masters, Ding, this season, but at other times has been quiet. But we've seen plenty of other Chinese players really
53.
making their move, and this man has done so in style this week, and indeed here this afternoon in the first session of this final.
59.
He's had 6 half-centuries this afternoon. And he leads 4-2.
66 in the frame.
A big couple of frames coming up for Neil Robertson here this afternoon. Cao Yupeng looks super confident, punishing mistakes. And that 66 clearance gives him a 4-2 lead with 2 frames left to play this afternoon.
Thank you. Frame 7. Neil Robertson to break.
Yes, Neil Robertson to break in frame 7 of a possible 17. There's a long way to go, but at the moment he's second best. He's trailing 4-2, and Cao Yupeng has played some excellent snooker as Robertson again just grazes the blue off the break-off shot. Just hasn't imposed himself in the way that I think a lot of people were expecting this afternoon, based on the sort of character he is and the sort of snooker that he's played in the tournament. But as I say, Cao has made 6 half-century breaks in the 4 frames. Well, in fact, one of them was in one of the frames that he lost. But even so, he has scored well.
It's a tap on the table from Neil Robertson. That was well played. It's always a worry that you don't know where the red that you play is going to end up. It's ended up in a bad place. Gifted an early chance here to Neil Robertson.
1. Six. Seven.
Well, it's the red above the black that's the issue here. As to whether it pots anywhere, Neil's already had one look at it. Didn't go in there. Don't think it goes in the other pocket either, but the black below it certainly will pot. So they might be able to get it into play within a few shots, that red. There must be a slight concentration issue because it's not the first ball this afternoon he's missed where A, he thought it was in, and B, he was trying to get the cue ball into a certain area. And he's surprised it stayed up. Took his eye a fit up, maybe. Bad time for that to happen when your opponent is playing so well. I was going to say that with a little bit of pace, these shots are not easy into that pocket.
One.
Well, Neil had a real let-off there. And he'll be most relieved to see
8.
Cao Yupeng just fall at the first hurdle, if you like, missing the opening red. And he needs to just get a little
9.
bit of pace on, get some rhythm into his game, the kind of rhythm that was there last night. How well he played. First 4 frames against John Higgins, almost perfect snooker. Today has been different. Different opponent, one that he's expected to beat.
16.
May have played a part in how he's played up until now.
17.
Well, it's terrific cue power, and he's very, very unlucky there. Cue ball just absolutely just topped straight through the bunch. Gathering speed all the way. Unlucky.
Robertson, 17.
And it's going to be a difficult shot to keep anything going, having finished awkwardly. And he's got a pretty slender lead of 29 points where the balls are, having been in twice.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if he played it as a shot to nothing, but it isn't safe.
One.
Very well done now. A second chance in a frame that Neil Robertson needs to win, but this is for Cao Yupeng. We know how solid he's been, as Dave said, all those 50-plus breaks in this match. Another one of that kind or a bit more would do him very nicely.
8.
Still going at 95% pot success. He's actually missed 3 pots. And one of them was earlier in the frame. The other one
9.
was the black that would have taken him to a 2-0 lead.
$16.
Yeah, his actual stats are 155 shots, 148 potted, so it's actually 7 pots. Not bad going. We're into frame 7.
Well, certainly a couple of those were times where the frame was well and truly won.
$24.
The test for him is going to come this evening if he gets close to the winning line, because that's uncharted territory for him. But he has the opportunity to take a
25.
big lead into the evening session. If he wins this frame, then the last of the afternoon becomes massive, with the chance to lead 6-2.
Certainly. And that would be a lead that very few people could have imagined would happen. Anyway, he's not there yet. He's not even in front at the mid-session interval. He can only be assured of one thing, that it'll be at worst level.
32.
Just all been sort of scraps from Robertson so far, hasn't, as I said earlier, imposed himself.
Not the perfect
38.
cannon.
49.
He's only got a very tight cue action. There's not really a lot in there that's moving, not too many moving parts. He's not
44.
free-flowing, which is one thing that's against him. But under pressure, it seems to hold up pretty well.
45.
Can't make a 147 break if you're out of form, I don't think, and that's what he did in one of these earlier matches. Well, he's done nothing but play on the long red here.
52. $53.
Well, that was the best part about the previous shot, that he had an angle on the pink to get onto a red. However, he isn't perfect. And if he needs the rest, it might
59.
be quite a difficult shot to get to. It looks difficult to reach without the rest as well. This is a stretch. Not missing very much though, is he? Frame ball here.
No, this is really impressive. 7.5 centuries now. And barring snookers, it's going to be 5-2 to Cao Yupeng.
Yes, he needs to be very careful with this shot. Don't play it
67.
half-heartedly. Because one snooker where the yellow and the brown are won't be very much. So this has really got to go in, I think. I think that's a very sloppy shot indeed.
Cao Yupeng,
He should not have
67.
played it left-handed. He should have played it with whatever equipment he needed to drop it in. This is still not over, I can tell you that. You could see this coming. Rushed into that shot.
One.
Well, if the black goes in and goes into bulk, I think Yupeng is sure to be in a snooker next shot. All this was avoidable. Anyone can miss a ball, but he took it easy there, playing it left-handed.
Eight. Neil Robertson, 8.
Well, I know Ronnie O'Sullivan is watching this, and you're one of the best left-handed players around for right-hander, Ronnie, but I thought he was a little careless on that last red, Yupeng.
Yeah, I mean, stretching. If you're playing it with your normal hand and you're stretching, you can kind of get away with it. But when you're playing with your weaker hand and you're stretching, you're virtually guaranteed to miss it, especially down the cushion like that. You know, only just half a pocket. So, and like you said, where the yellow and brown was, that red was a massive ball. So, I'm like you, Neil. I'd have rather seen him either play a good safety or get the rest out and just make sure the red. I mean, if he misses this yellow now and loses his frame, it's a big frame to lose. Great hit.
Yeah, indeed. Great hit it was. And even better. Well, there you are. I think Ronnie was right. However, that is quite a twist in the tail, isn't it? How's he potted that? Goodness me. Thanks to Ronnie for now. Crucial frame and danger averted there, I'd say.
Cao Yupeng, 2.
Incredible, isn't it? You'd have, on the one hand, the logic of snooker, on the other hand, the chaos of the game, which we saw come to the fore there, fluking the yellow out the snooker. Robertson did nothing wrong. He laid the trap, but Cao was just lucky. So there's now 32 in it, and that means there's 2 snookers required.
And if you've got your opponent in a snooker when they need snookers, as was nearly the case there, that's what you need. I mean, Robertson could just hit a little bit of that, but he couldn't really get one back. Well, Neil is still trying because it is 2 snookers, so he's not out of the frame entirely, but there was that situation on the yellow where he really was in with a chance. Well, he was good enough to hit it, but he knew nothing about the yellow going in.
So that's the end of that frame. And Cao Yupeng is guaranteed to be in front coming back tonight. The question now, by how many?
Cao Yupeng, 3.
Neil Robertson is just looking at the scores. 35 behind.
Yeah.
He nods his head to concede. The break of 67 did the damage from Cao Yupeng. It sets up a massive last frame of the afternoon because Cao Yupeng leads Neil Robertson by 5 frames to 2. The Scottish Open final, playing for the Stephen Hendry Trophy. Neil Robertson in a bit of trouble, trailing 5-2 to Cao Yupeng, a first-time ranking event finalist who's made 7 half-century breaks there this afternoon. It's first to 9. There's still a fair way to go, but Robertson really needs this last frame on the board, and if he could win it in style, if he could win it with a big break, then that would just give Cao Yupeng, I think, something to think about, and it would also, of course, give Robertson a bit of a spring in his step as he left the arena. But we shall see. His highest break so far this afternoon, the Aussie, just 61. Well, someone has made a rather unscheduled break, I think, in the audience. Dropped something, a glass or something. Neil Robertson's bow tie's hanging off, by the way. A wardrobe malfunction. I don't think he's noticed.
No, it'd be interesting if it fell off and landed on a ball or something on a different shot. That would be, I guess, a foul, wouldn't it?
Well, rather like him in this match, it's at the moment hanging on. But there's nothing wrong with the pot. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Just a little tuck up.
Yeah, not too much in that as to whether he was able to cut it in. Shouldn't be any problem just playing off the cushion.
Yeah, this is not a fashion statement he's making. He just hasn't noticed the bow tie.
Well, if it is a fashion statement, it will never catch on, I don't think.
I'm surprised that the referee hasn't said something to him, actually. Maybe Leo hasn't noticed either.
Got away with that. Cao Yupeng.
Yeah.
Swan neck.
So, I miss.
Oh dear.
Cao Yupeng, 4.
Yeah, he actually was about to say to Leo Scullion that he didn't hit a red, which of course he meant to hit just a feather of that one. I have seen players in that situation think that they've got a touching ball and play away and the miss is called. That wasn't one of those. He just tried to get a very thin edge of it. He's looking a little bit crestfallen, isn't he, at the moment, every way. As Dave said, the bow tie's on its last legs. He needs this frame badly. But he might have been given a gift there. He's gone for a plant. Did he have a long look at that? He must have done. Well, it was dead set. The reds were far enough apart. When you play it with speed, you know, your accuracy has got to be even more spot on unless the plant is unmissable.
Well, an interesting visit now for Neil Robertson, looking to get going. As I say, if he can make a big break in the last frame of the afternoon, that does just raise the stakes a little for when they return this evening. Oh, but he's got to pot that first.
Yeah, your ties come undone. Sorry? Your ties come undone.
And now he's been told about the bow tie.
Yes, and he will be very disappointed to have missed that shot, because that really was an easy one. Things are going from bad to worse here.
Well, he's sorting out the tie, but the more pressing concern was that miss. He's got to work out how it all works again. It's a bit befuddled at the moment, Neil Robertson.
One.
The thing is, he might not need the bow tie. If he doesn't get another shot in this frame, it doesn't matter.
I think if I could use that word befuddled, I can't think of a better way of describing it, because that's exactly what Neil is at the moment, isn't he? Everything is going wrong. He had a good kiss there. And like you say, he might not get another shot in this session, because he's been knocking in so many breaks, as you've said. He's made... Cao Yupeng has made 7 breaks over 50 in this session. Every time he's got in, he's scored, and that man knows it, and he's feeling the effects. This is not what people thought would happen.
7.
And a lot of people looked at the semi-final lineup. I think Cao Yupeng has done really well to get there, but that's where the run ends. But he's proved everybody who thought that wrong. Well, he's absolutely sickened to be finishing there.
14.
He seemed to know quite a long way in advance that it was going into a bad position. It's one of those where you wish you'd screwed it even harder and maybe pushed that red away from the one near the pocket. Don't see how he can keep it going this break. Not from here.
It may be that, I think it may be broken. And Brendan Moore's just appeared and handed Peggy Lee another bow tie, which may be on its way to Neil Robertson soon. Because he is coming back to the table. He's saying it's broken. There is, Peggy Lee has got another one. If the referee can spot her. Here's Brendan Moore. He's holding the replacement.
I've got a replacement there. I'm going to put a replacement jacket for my button. Yeah, the Stetson's come away.
Just lose this one for the rest of this.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'll take that one down, try and fix it. If this don't come back on, just leave it off the rest of this. That's all.
You got a button for my jacket?
Yeah, he's got to wear one. It's in the dress code. But thankfully, another one's been found.
Yeah. I'll fix it later. Yeah.
So just an unscheduled interval while he sorts himself out. He's actually using the window of our commentary box, or he was, to as a mirror.
Yeah.
He's just left now, briefly, and just hope it's not one of those outrageous velvet ones from the 70s that are ludicrously out of fashion.
If it's one of Brendan's, it could be.
I see some strange odd things. Of course, you might wonder why players like Steve Maguire, who was playing well this week, wasn't wearing one, but he has actually got exemption, hasn't he, from doing so?
Well, Alex Higgins, of course, could quite often enter the arena wearing one and then just rip it off. And who's going to argue with him? Well, it's the festive period, and that gentleman is certainly very festive. Well, while we wait for Neil to come back, we'll have a word with Ronnie O'Sullivan. All this has happened, Ronnie, at a pretty critical stage for Neil Robertson.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking, 5-2 down here, and, he's just, that red he missed in the middle there, You just, I just, maybe he's just feeling a little bit of pressure here, the expectations of maybe he should be winning this match pretty comfortably, but he isn't.
Yeah, and also his opponent, Cao Yupeng, has scored so well, hasn't he? He's been very solid.
Yeah, he's made some, plenty of 70s, 60s and 80 breaks, and, I think, yeah, he looks very comfortable out there as well, like you say, yesterday against Jardin today. He looks like, he's not overawed by the occasion at all, which is obviously, it's good for him and not good for Neil, really.
OK, thanks, Ronnie. Well, Neil Robertson, as we can see, has returned, properly dressed, ready to restart.
Yes, but you're absolutely right, Dave. This is a very important part of the match. Without going into the obvious permutations of frames, a 6-2 deficit is a large deficit. I think whatever happens, even if, whether it is 6-2 or 5-3, the period between the afternoon session ending and the evening session starting, that will give both players a lot to think about. Neil will think that he's not out of it. And Yupeng might just be thinking, wow, this is it. This is my moment to win a ranking event. I could be lifting a trophy in a few hours. And that can have dangerous consequences as well, thinking ahead too far. But here's his dream. That's why he started playing snooker in the first place for nights like this. Because he's a long way from being there. This frame might tell us a bit more.
One. Three.
Well, that has made Neil just puff his cheeks out. I don't know how the cue will ended up being behind there. It may go. If we might need a little touch of left-hand side to straighten the angle, but he's cueing awkwardly anyway. I don't think there's many places in that area you could put the ball where there's not an easy red available, but he seems to have found one. I mean, the red to the middle, cueing over another red. Horrible shot. He would definitely need a little trace of left-hand side, I think, on this shot.
Four.
Played it well, very well, in fact.
Talking of the bow tie business, I remember Robertson's compatriot Quinton Han once arrived for the World Championship qualifiers and didn't have the regulation trousers. Was told if he didn't find a pair, he'd be scratched from the tournament. So he had to go to
11.
the local Marks and Spencers. He got a pair, but he kept the labels on. So he played the match with them with the labels on, and then when the match was over, he took them back, got his money back. But he was what is frequently referred to as a character.
18. Thank you. 90.
Yes, it's been a long session, but he needs to keep some concentration up for the remainder of this, because this is a golden chance, and it's not so much that he needs to win the frame. If he didn't win the frame from being in this position, that would be even worse. The fact that he's got this chance, he has to take it. Either way, we're set up for a great evening session.
27.
Yes, and the danger for Cao Yupeng is that Robertson will then start to play well. He'll play better than he has done this afternoon. So even if Cao here continues in the same vein, if Robertson ups his game, then of course he can turn it round. After all, he once won a match at the World Championship from 11-5 down. 13-12 against Martin Gould, the year he won the title, 2010.
$35. $41. $42.
Well, two reds to the left middle available here. Playing in an area where both are likely to be potable.
50.
So a lead of 40 points, just under actually 39 points when this is potted. Red colour, red is what he needs from here.
56. Thank you. 57.
It's only his second half century of the match, and it could be a very significant one. One more red needed.
$64.
Well, this is how the break got started, but how it ends, I don't know. This is a tight one again to the middle bag, right behind the line of the shot. He's really close as to whether he can pot it. Well, that was the problem. He had to flick a little bit of
Robertson, 64.
right-hand side on. It's not a very nice shot to have to play, but he wasn't on it.
So Cao is back at the table, 47 behind with the possible 51 on.
He never had to go for that, you know. I mean, if he wasn't on it, he really could have played safe. I guess the factor is he missed it on the thick side, so he put too much side on. Now, this would be a right turnaround. He's playing the brave red, but he needs high-value colours with them, I guess. That's why.
Well, the pocket came so close to grabbing it.
Yes, I think Neil Robertson would be mightily relieved. That would have been a crushing frame to have lost. Okay, the break never started, but he wouldn't have had to play many good shots to make it very on. I think tonight is going to be really good. Very tense, I think, whoever wins it. You've got that feeling we're going to be in for a thriller. And that's what we love.
Well, the one thing in Robertson's favour will be that he has experience of winning big titles. 12 ranking events in all, plus the Masters. And that black surely seals the last frame of the afternoon.
8.
Cao's been the better player. He's made the bigger breaks, but Robertson has played so well in this tournament. He's got so much self-belief. This is still in the balance with just 2 frames in it.
$15. $16. $24. $26.
Well, the bottom line is he had to win this frame, really, just to stay in touch, and he's done that. Neil Robertson's looking for his
29.
first ranking title for 18 months. Cao, his first as a professional. Sets up a fascinating and an unmissable evening. It's been an engrossing opening session, and the real fireworks, you suspect, still to come. The main thing for Robertson here is that he's kept himself in touch. Won that second frame, gave it the fist, gave it the come on. But he's been chasing the game most of the afternoon. He's trailing, coming back tonight. But only by 2. It could have been a lot worse. He's won a key frame there. And this is still in the balance. Cao Yupeng has made the running here. He's made 7 half-century breaks in the opening session of this Scottish Open final. But an important frame that for Neil Robertson. Just 2 behind as they resume this evening. It's Cao Yupeng leading.